Hello, this is our Hidden Treasure Moments podcast. I am Kara Adams, your host. I am so excited to have my great friend, Dr. Leita Harris, here with us doing our show. And really the Hidden Treasure Moment, this podcast is all about giving. I say everyday people, but it's really amazing people, really a platform to talk about the things that they're doing in our community. And Miss Dr. Leita Harris is no different. Now, just to give you a little feedback, or a little background.
History.
Now, I have known you for like maybe 10 years?
10 or more.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I don't know how many of you remember Monavie. Like, it was this amazing drink. Like, everybody and your mama was out selling, like, these...
Drinking Monavie, right.
It was, like, the most expensive vitamin in a wine bottle ever. But, like, it really worked.
It worked.
And, like, the people I met during doing Monavie, like, I still know today, which is absolutely... It has to be something to... really the amazing quality of that product.
Yes.
And like the people who were doing it were good people who wanted something.
And networking. People that love networking and helping people.
Yes.
They all have like the same similar, values.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that kind of leads me, and I think when we met I knew that you were a doctor, but like now I know you so much more and so much better after preparing for our podcast today.
Yes.
Now you have your very own practice.
Yay!
And it's called Nurturing You Women's
Health and Wellness.
Okay.
Exactly.
So if I didn't tell the viewers much about you, but like I know that you were originally from Panama.
I was born in Panama,
And then you moved to New York as a child.
Yes.
And then went to school there. You had, a family that really worked and understood the importance of education.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about yourself, because I'll jack it all up.
Okay, we're going to go way back.
way back.
Yeah, like you said, I was born in Panama, but I grew up in New York. And
New York in the house.
New York,
I'm not from New York.
totally New York girl. Every once in a while, if I'm tired, the accent comes out, talk about my coffee and going to Long Island and fix the dogs some food. So it comes out every once in a while. But I absolutely love school. That was an unusual thing, but I loved learning. I loved just embracing the whole thing of doing the best that I could possibly do. And so although I had my parents there that, again, regarded education very, very highly, it was something where I had a very strong motivation to just do my best. I wanted to just make myself feel the best that I could. And I was never going to be one of those people that was settling for mediocrity. So I always pressed. I always, at every level, strive to do the absolute best at every level. And I'm, my husband, my dad tells me that I'm probably one of the only little girls that said when they were 9 years old, I want to be a doctor when I grow up, and I actually did it. I actually, from a young girl, knew that I wanted to be a physician, and I just pursued my dream. So, but it was no joke. A lot of commuting.
Talk about like the walk.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, put it this way. When you grew up in New York and you don't have cars, for us, we did not have cars. So it was all about public transportation, walking, or should I say walking? Okay. You took the bus, you took the train, you walked. And, literally, there was like miles that I would have to travel on foot, with train, with buses. I mean, you just walked. That was the way you got around in New York. So,
and I think I read that it took like 2 hours one way
to get to school. Absolutely.
And how old were you at that?
Well, that was in high school. That was in
Mhm.
high school. So I did a lot of commuting when I was in high school. And it was one of those things where it was a specialized high school. Even though I didn't do marine biology. So that was what it specialized in. It was Beach Channel High School, Rockaway. Like, why did I go there? But but I did.
Yes.
It was marine biology. And so, yeah, it was a 2-hour commute one way for me to get to school. So I had to get up early, take the bus, take several trains, and then walk again to get to school.
You know what's so funny is I think and I've read this, that you've kind of said the same thing, that when you have to persevere, when you have to push through something, when you have to work, at an accomplishment or a goal, it makes it sweeter when you get it. But it's almost like you don't have a testimony if you don't have a test.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know, like, when I went to school, when I went to college, like, I had a good time. I graduated from Long Beach State. But it took my parents, like, 3 or 4 years in to say, okay, we're done. We're not paying for this anymore. And when I had to start paying for myself, paying for my way to school, it's like that's when that hunger awoke in me. And it's like that's when I got on the dean's list. That's when I really, I switched to kinesiology, and I loved kind of medicine. I loved the human body. I loved kind of how it all worked. Even though anatomy was not my thing. It took me 3 tries, but eventually I got it. But it's like that's kind of I think when I read your bio, even before. Well, even when I knew you before, I knew that you were a grinder, that you worked really hard. But I didn't recognize truly how hard you worked until I started reading about you. And so with that, with how hard you work and everything you're doing, it's funny, if you guys have watched any of my past episodes, I had one of my good friends, Carrie Madrid.
Oh, Carrie.
And she was on a couple of episodes back, and we started just talking about women and the issues that we have that are facing women, who have gone through cancer, have gone through menopause, and the work that you do is kind of, it's not just women, but you focus on some of the gynecological kind of issues. And so will you kind of tell us about your passion and kind of where that comes from and why you chose OBGY in gynecology?
Yes, right. And it's interesting because I think I can go back to when I was in college at NYU. And I really loved my biology classes. I loved my, the biochemistry classes. I loved physiology. I just loved everything that had to do with how the human body functioned, hormone-wise, physical-wise, everything. And I kind of took a interest in liking to understanding women in particular, because we're kind of different. The women.
In all the best ways.
Of course. The best ways. So women are just different. We tick differently. And it's a lot more complex, if you will, when it comes to a lot of the hormones and just the way things are. And when you think about the fact that God made our bodies to be the ones that have to go through all these transformations in order to carry a child, and to birth a child and everything. So those became very fascinating to me. From college. So I kind of thought I would like that. When I got to medical school and started really digging deep, it became more and more and more just I really like this. I love this. And I tell the medical students, because I teach over at UCR, the School of Medicine as well, and I tell the medical students that when I saw my first delivery, it was like the clouds were parting. And then God was just I heard angels sing. It was just one of these amazing experiences. Yeah. And it just totally solidified it. I said, I have to do this.
Yeah.
The miracle of life.
Oh, wow.
The miracle of just how everything comes to pass. I knew I just loved it. So, of course, I said, okay, I'm going to go for this OBGYN residency. absolutely love what I do. I continue to love what I do. Now,
what's really funny is that my sister just had her baby.
Right.
Like my little nephew is named Ryder. Hey, baby Ryder. And I was in the delivery room holding the leg up. I didn't have that, the clouds opening experience. I had, oh my Lord, make this end.
Of course. Well, when you're on this side of it, I mean, I've burst a couple myself, so it was, and actually, to be honest with you, when you go through pregnancy and deliver yourself, there's a whole nother level of appreciation.
Yes.
A whole nother level of appreciation. So, so it basically was something where I said, no, I love what I do. But I think what I love the field because you can modify it over time. So I did the obstetrics part for the first 15 years after residency, and then started kind of getting a little bit more into depth about just lifestyle and just women's health, not just pregnancy, but just women's health as we get older. And then I started having my family, my blended family. Went through divorce, remarried, so 5 kids. Raising 5 kids, while you're a doctor. Running and doing deliveries. Doing
and not just a doctor.
No.
You're a first lady.
Right.
As well.
Ministry.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, throw ministry in there, church administrator, Sunday school teacher, women's ministry. Throw that in there. And it was just one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, something has to give, because literally I was at a time of my life where it was just too much of me being pulled in too many different directions. And that's when I decided to just stop the OB part of it.
Okay.
And that's when I started teaching and just focusing on gynecology and then the other, 10 jobs that I have. But the passion then started turning into educating and letting women just understand more about lifestyle changes, lifestyle things, natural things that they can do for their bodies, as opposed to just writing prescriptions and giving them prescriptions. I really started having like an awareness of, okay, what am I doing? Someone has a condition, knee-jerk, write a prescription, then it got side effects. I got to deal with those side effects. And then it got other side effects. And am I really addressing what the underlying problem is? And that's when things really started to turn for me.
And did you have, in that awakening, did you decide to go from kind of the big box medical center hospital to your own practice because that was happening?
Yeah, and it was a transition. So, so that not doing the obstetrics part of it was kind of first, because
you had a lot.
There's a lot. Okay, so moving away from that, and then I started teaching in 2006. And then doing just gynecology alone. Office gynecology alone at Kaiser. Actually, I did that from January of 2008 until June of 2015. So June of 2015 was my 25-year of practicing mark. And underneath the structured, facilities, and I was limited in what I could do and what I could offer patients. And that's when I decided that I got to go on my own. And that's kind of opposite, because a lot of physicians may start off with their own private practice and then try to ease down and then go into like a big multi-specialty group so they can share the responsibilities with everyone. So I kind of did the opposite, where I was like, big multi-specialty group, OB, and then just another multi-specialty group, but just doing office gynecology till I need to be me.
Yes.
I got to, when I say I'm caring for someone, when I say that health care, wellness, that has to mean something to me. And I absolutely did not feel that I was giving everything that I could give in a setting where I am being dictated to of how long these appointments have to be scheduled for. I can't see someone who is a first-time hormone consultation visit raging menopause, everything that goes underneath the sun, and I'm meeting her for the first time, and I have to see her in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
No. So that happened just one too many times, and I said, you know something, it's a big step of faith, but I said, I gotta do this, because I gotta be me. I gotta do me.
Right.
I gotta take care of people the way I feel that taking care of people. I gotta define that, I gotta live that, I gotta walk that, I gotta practice that.
And it has to feel so much more rewarding.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's believe me, financially, woo. So financially, it's very challenging.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the opposite.
No, on your own, no. No, when you're on your own, it's way more challenging for me. It is.
I would never have thought that.
Yeah, because, the thing is, first of all, I started off with just as a cash consultation, and then you start seeing, insurance patients. Insurance is not going to pay you. I mean, I'm sorry to say that. Hey, I see insurance doesn't pay you for the time that you spend, and I'm not going to compromise the time. Okay? So when people go and they see physicians, and sometimes oh my gosh, it's such a long wait, it's because they get paid so little per patient that they gotta turn stop. They gotta make it a volume-based thing, and I'm not gonna do that. So basically, I just have to accept, whatever for whatever period of time. Even though I spend a lot of time, I'm only gonna get paid. So it's challenging because of that.
Yeah,
it's challenging, but like you said, rewarding.
Right.
I wouldn't change it.
Well, I
feel free. I can do what I want. I can practice how I want. I can offer patients options that I was not able to offer them before. I can have products in here that I feel are beneficial to help them. I can spend time and coaching and educating.
Right. And you're kind of the master of your own domain.
Yeah.
Oh no, I get that completely.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a really quick break. Sitting here with Dr. Leita Harris is amazing. And so when we come back, we're going to talk about kind of some of those products, some of the things that we would never know about.
Right.
And one of them came out of my, a couple of episodes ago.
Carrie.
Yeah, with Carrie, that there's a procedure to help realize some things.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get back, as soon as we come back, we're going to talk about that. Hello, my name is Kara Adams. I'm the author of Hidden Treasure. I'm a speaker, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a cancer survivor, and what I want to do is invite you to my one-day VIP gym retreat. It's at the beautiful Mission Inn. The retreat will be on May 11th. It is from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. The retreat is for anyone who puts themselves last, because you're putting your family first, you're putting your career first, and what we want to do is to put you first for once. So if you are looking for a day of pampering and to just be treated like the king or queen that you are, please feel free to come and to join us. Find out how to sign up for it if you go to my website, which is www.karaadams.com, and I hope to see you there. So welcome back. This is our Hidden Treasure Moments podcast. I am Kara Adams. Today my guest is Dr. Leita Harris, old-time friend, amazing woman. She's got her own practice, and when we left off, we were talking about that my good friend Carrie was talking about that she had seen you, and it was funny. I'm like, Dr. Leita Harris, I know Dr. Leita Harris.
Right.
And we were talking about after, if you've watched the show, then you know that I have undergone chemotherapy and, put me into menopause, and that, intimacy, intercourse, all of that has changed considerably. And, there was nothing that my doctor could give me, could tell me other than use lubricant. And, you know, that didn't really do it. And so I would complain and I'd say like, you know, it's just not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. Like when he, you know, when my husband is advancing, I'm like, oh Lord, like.
Razor blades.
Yes, yes, it's like razor blades. It's like the sandpaper.
Yes.
That it's just, you know, my body is not the same as it was. And like hormonally, I'm just all over the place. And she was saying something. Now, tell me what it's called. It's like a it's like a.
Okay. Okay, it's the machine itself.
Yeah, and like what it is.
Right, the
because I don't know.
machine itself that I have is a FemTouch, okay? And the procedure is called, you know, they kind of lay terms say vaginal rejuvenation or vaginal revitalization, okay? And essentially it is something to restore vaginal health. I'm going to put it that way.
Okay.
It's something to restore vaginal health. The procedure itself is a CO2 laser. Okay, now it might sound like, whoa, CO2 laser.
Like hot and painful.
Right, but it's not painful whatsoever. There's no pain. There's no downtime. It's an in-office procedure.
Now, when you say no downtime, like you don't have to take off work, but you might not have, you know, like intercourse that night.
Well, we tell people nothing like for 2 days.
Oh,
no intercourse for 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's, you know, because you're basically allowing the cells to heal. Okay. And so it's a CO2, and essentially what it's doing, it's creating like just micro, and I hate to say this, but this is what it is. It's like micro trauma in the lining of the vagina, okay, through like little lasers. So what happens is that it allows the natural collagen, elastin, glycogen, all those healthy things to start growing in. So you're not totally, you know, obviously killing everything, but you're just doing enough spots so that the body's natural healing process starts kind of activating, and so that it starts to restore and heal. So you're basically allowing the normal healing process to do the trick. So you're doing that, and essentially you do the whole vaginal canal. We can also do around the opening, because sometimes people are fine high up inside, but that initial entry point in the lower part of the vagina can be very, very painful. So we can do inside, we can do outside as well. And there's even some treatments that we can do actually on the labia, because some women do have issues where the labia may kind of be like darkened as far as the color is concerned. I know it might kind of sound like a little vain, but they kind of want their vulva to look a different color. So, and you can also shrink
like a prettier
down.
flower.
Right, pretty. You know,
a pretty vagina.
Right. So you can also do some treatments to help to lessen the size of, you know, some of the labia as well. So, but here's, the size of it. You can kind of do that to lessen it, because sometimes people have, you know, like very elongated. It's not going to be something like a surgical, but it can help to reduce the size of it.
Like
just tighten it a little bit.
Like almost like.
And you know, you do that, but guess what? That's actually the way it was first used. The same CO2 laser procedure is done on the face. And so when they realized like how well you can restore and rejuvenate the skin, then they said, okay, well, let's see if it works down there. And they did the testing, and lo and behold, they had wonderful success. But here's the thing. I like to say vaginal health, because vaginal health pertains to a lot of different things. So it's laxity, because sometimes when women give birth, you know, the vaginal tissue,
everything stretches.
Everything stretches. It's destroyed, to be honest with you. Muscles are torn, ligaments are torn. I mean, I hope I'm not letting somebody say, oh, I have no babies. So, but it's a lot of destructive things going on. I mean, the whole pelvic floor is being stretched in order to allow that baby to come out. So you're dealing with laxity problems. Some women it's loose, and they kind of want it tightened up a little bit.
And so is that like when you laugh or cough or
this
jump?
is another. This is number 2.
Okay.
Number 2 is when you actually have urinary incontinence. Okay. Now, there's a couple types of incontinence. There's what they call urge incontinence, which is where when you feel like you gotta go, you better get to the bathroom real quickly or else it starts coming out. And then there's stress incontinence, which literally is like if you cough, you laugh, you sneeze, you jump, then it comes out. So both of those types of incontinence can actually be treated with the FemTouch.
Oh my goodness.
So you have, and actually, to be honest with you, my patients that I've treated over the last several years, those are the ones that actually have been coming and getting great response. Because when you're leaking, nobody wants to be wearing pads every day. So women who have to wear pads because if they cough, last sneeze, here it comes. Or if I need to go, I better hurry up. So it helps the bladder. It helps to repair like urinary incontinence. Now it's not going to do the major, okay? But if it's mild incontinence, if you have mild prolapse, then it can actually lift it because again, you're regenerating that collagen, elastin, that healthy tissue, and you're actually lifting that up.
And now, what if you've been told that like you have endometriosis or like
totally different though?
But does that limit you?
No.
Or okay.
No. So again, it's the laxity, it's the urinary incontinence, so bladder health, and then the third part of it is the atrophy and the thinning, the dryness, the burning that comes from a lack of estrogen, okay, another hormone. So perimenopausally and menopausally women, as their ovarian function declines, then they start losing their estrogen, okay? So as that goes down, people don't realize you have estrogen receptors all through your body, from your brains, your skin, your hair, your GI tract, yes, the vagina, yes, the bladder, yes, everything. So therefore, when estrogen levels plummet, progesterone levels plummet, and let me say, testosterone is another important hormone for women as well, okay? So when these things start declining, then that's when all the symptoms start to come. And many women, it happens perimenopausally when they're still having a period, but here comes hot flashes and night sweats and insomnia and everything. But the vaginal tissue also becomes atrophic. So again, the FemTouch is allowing you to restore. And we actually test the pH. I literally see it like one treatment after the next. It's kind of like, yeah, she's back. So
like,
you
my girl is back.
Yeah, you start from one place and all of a sudden like, it's okay, we're good, we're good. And so it's basically once every 4 weeks for 3 to 4 treatments, depending on what the needs are. And then we tell people once a year for a touch-up, if you will. Now, one thing, I want to sneak this in there. I'm actually getting another device as well. I'm waiting for some interest, though, so if you people want this, okay?
Yeah.
Here.
Then please comment.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
So this is something where, okay, say you get your treatments, okay? There's actually a new device that you can take take home, and you insert it. It's an LED, like a photo, and what it's doing is it's helping to keep the tissue healthy in between. So it actually lets the FemTouch last longer. So maybe instead of a year touch-up, you can actually get something in like 18 months. So, and it's something you can use in privacy of your home.
Oh, wow.
If you want to use it every night, you can use it every night.
Does it vibrate?
There's a little... Well, no, there is. I mean, it's the light is what's really causing...
Is it warm?
It's warm.
Okay.
It's light, but it's something that's actually regenerating the tissue in the vaginal lining as well. And yes, it does have some stimulation as vibration, but it's not a vibrator.
Right.
But we do know that it actually helps with just sensitivity. So, I mean, all kind of stuff. Hey, y'all need to come see me. Let me fix it.
Why? Okay. And so just so everyone knows, like, I haven't, like, this isn't an infomercial. It's nothing like that.
It's not. No.
But it's like, it's something
People need to know.
Because, like, no, my doctor didn't talk about it. My, oncologist.
Right.
My chemotherapy oncologist. My surgical oncologist.
Yes.
Like, nobody is talking about these women issues that we have.
Right.
And it's bad enough, like, that you've been diagnosed. It's great that I'm a survivor and I've made it through.
Yes.
But like, I know so many women who they've gotten divorced after cancer, where they're not, they're not being able to be intimate with their husbands, or they're choosing not to date because they don't even want to have the conversation and do the whole crazy lubricant thing and so for the fact that like this isn't more readily known, Like, that's what this is about.
That's what it's about. And, and I will tell you that it's been a few years, and to be honest with you, the first place that I went to show this was actually at the Women's Cancer Conference. Not this past one.
Oh,
but
not the one we saw each other.
We saw, okay. But, because I said, wow, that was my first target, if I can say target, was like, wow, I have a way to restore the vaginal tissue in women who may have like a contraindication to using hormones.
Yeah, I can't use hormones.
Right, so women can, and of course we can do hormonal treatment and everything to help with multiple things, the whole menopause, everything, the whole, and of course I use bioidentical hormones, nothing synthetic, nothing dangerous. However, I do know that there's a subset of people that cannot use anything. And when I said, wow, I can help them to get their tissues restored. So like you said, you don't have to have that feeling of I can't be intimate.
Right.
Or intimacy is an uncomfortable and unpleasant thing.
Right.
People say, oh, I have decreased libido. Well, yeah, if every time you're trying, it's not a pleasant, situation, why are you going to have a drive?
Okay?
Right.
Right.
That dampens the drive.
Right, absolutely.
So, I said we do things to try to help. And like I said, there's so many people, and even testosterone with women, there's this taboo about it. Women need testosterone too. We produce testosterone during our reproductive years. Muscle tone, muscle strength, mental awareness, cognition. These are all things, exercise endurance, libido. These are all things that make a difference.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so, is this something that, like, insurance doesn't cover this, right?
Insurance ain't gonna pay for it.
I was like, they don't cover, rejuvenating the vajayjay.
Well, and something,
I mean,
and
that's
that's where advocacy, has to come into play. And I'm actually involved right now with a woman that I just went to a conference last week. It's the Intimate Wellness Institute, and basically her whole thing is we need to get things like this in the forefront of and I know I don't want to take too much time with it, but it's amazing how quickly things are able to be passed through for approval when it has to do with men's sexual health, but when it has to do with women's sexual health, I mean, it's years and years. And there's this paternal thing of like, oh, she can't, she's just fine, or, that's what happens with aging.
Right.
Patch it down.
Right. You shouldn't be having sex after menopause anyway.
And it's just this thing of like women are supposed to just accept this and go in a corner somewhere and shrivel up and be unhappy, and like you said, deal with situations where I can't be intimate, and divorce, and just unfortunate things that can happen, and it's real. It's real, and so I think advocacy and pushing, but right now, no, insurances don't cover things like this. But I will say this, and this is something that I truly I like to empower women to do. And I put it this way: don't let insurance dictate your wellness or your health. Okay, we all have choices to make. We all make decisions on what we want to spend money on.
Right. If it's important, you'll spend money on it.
If you value it,
right,
you're gonna put your money there.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's something where, hey, if I gotta save some money up, if I gotta do care credit, whatever I have to do, but my wellness, my sexual intimacy, my hormone status, my balance, my mind, anxiety, depression, is so much that happens. These are all things that's important to me, and I value it, so I'm going to do something about it.
Yes. Well, I'm going to have to talk to you about it. I'm going to have to get on there. I'm going to be on my little podcast talking about, oh my goodness, like, oh, I got the Fem Touch and it was amazing. Okay. So I definitely.
I'll hook you up.
Can I get the family discount? The Prison family. But
Prison family.
Yeah, I definitely, I want to find out more. I want to talk about it. I want to come and come to your practice because, I believe in natural remedies and being able to take care of myself and make sure that I'm giving myself all of the potential that I can.
Right, absolutely.
So when we come back, I want to kind of talk about on the men's side,
Yes.
because, you know, men,
Yes.
you know, they take
Yes.
the little blue pill or whatever, but like, you know, that they have some of the same issues.
They do.
When they turn 50 and
They
60
do.
and 70, where you're working super hard, and by the time, you know, by the time it's time to be intimate, maybe you think you don't have
Right.
the drive, but something
Right.
else is going on in the
Right.
background that you don't know about.
Absolutely.
So when we come back, I'd like
Sure.
to talk about on the men's side what
Okay.
that might look like.
Awesome.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
So welcome back to our Hidden Treasure Moments podcast. Again, I'm Kara Adams. I have the amazing, magnificent, empowered Dr. Leita Harris here with me.
Thank you.
And with her practice, Nurturing You Women's Health and Wellness,
Yes.
which I'm so proud of you. This
Thank
is
you.
so amazing.
Thank you.
You have to come see the building, find out about FemTouch.
Right.
But where we left off, we were talking about kind of men
Yes.
who might not even know that
Right.
they have kind of a hormonal imbalance, but
Right.
maybe, you know, their drive has diminished, or you know, kind of what are the signs and symptoms, and then what is there that's out there that's kind of natural that they can
Right.
do to improve
Right.
their quality of life.
Yeah, and it's funny because I kind of call myself not your ordinary gynecologist, because obviously gynecologist is women's health, but I actually take care of my patients' spouses and male friends as well. Because I've got trained. I was able to be trained in hormone management for men. So yes, it's amazing that actually a lot of the symptoms are very similar, to be honest with you. So meaning like irritability, low exercise endurance, muscle mass and bulk starts to diminish, belly fat goes up.
I'm not going to say anything, Troy. Don't worry.
Fatigue, you know, just inability to kind of like deal with stressors. Yes, libido. So those are some of the things that men deal with as their testosterone level starts to diminish. And so, and you're right, around 50 or so is when things can kind of start going down. So now, yes, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of commercials about a lot of testosterone boosters and things like that. And some of them actually do work to some degree. They're natural supplements, so I'm not going to call any names, but there are some
that actually work.
that, well, okay, put it this way, that'll push it up a little bit, but it's not going to restore and replenish to young levels.
Okay,
It's
so
going to
18-year-old you.
Right. It's not going to do all the way to that point, but it's going to kind of push it up to a level where maybe they're going to feel better. You know, not as dreary and tired and wore out as they were before. So, so there are some supplements, but then it's also the same way women can replace their estrogen and progesterone and testosterone and other hormones. Men can also replace their hormones too. So I do prescribe, you know, either topical creams that, yes, with testosterone, and they have other components.
Is it like a lotion?
Well,
or does it go on
it's
the
actually a
private
very
parts?
concentrated cream where they can apply it in certain areas, like in their shoulders, under their arm.
Okay.
Okay, yes, the scrotal area, they can do it there too. Abdomen. So there's a variety of different places. Now, one of the tricky things is that for men, of course, their testosterone that we prescribe is way, way, way more potent than what a woman would. So every once in a while, I'll have a male and female partner, you know, whether they're spouses or not. And unfortunately, the woman is not even on testosterone. Her testosterone's going up because they're in contact.
Oh.
You know, that little rubby-dubby thing?
Yeah.
So his testosterone is rubbing off on her and getting into her bloodstream and causing her levels to be high. So that's why you have to be careful of where you apply it. Now, one of the other things that I do for my men patients, as well as the women, is do hormone pellets.
Okay.
So pellets are placed underneath the skin. So this deep into like this subcutaneous level.
Like with a needle?
Well, it's with a instrument that introduces it.
Don't say needle. Needle is
it's not a needle. A needle is to just numb it so they don't feel the other one going in. So I do it for women, and usually the pellets will last like anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So every 3 to 6 months they come in and get their next. So they don't have to worry about day in, day out application. They just come in, they get their pellets, and they say, okay, see you in a few months, and they do great. It's a really nice steady state levels of hormones. But for men, same thing. I use testosterone pellets for them. And that's like twice a year they come in to do their testosterone. So we can actually do testosterone pellets. We can do testosterone creams, topical, but they have to be absorbed a different way. It's not like you can't do testosterone pills because it doesn't break down properly in the system. So it has to be done a different way.
Okay, so if you see like an ad and they're like selling testosterone pills, like stay far away. Like don't go to Mexico and get testosterone pills.
No, it's not. I mean, injection can be done. Injections have a little more side effect profile than just the natural bioidentical creams or the natural bioidentical pellets. Okay. So, and then I also do some other products too. I do you probably heard about the gel. The gel. So I say, I mean, it's awesome, and it's for men and women.
Okay.
And
tell us about the gel.
Yeah. Well, okay. What it is actually a transdermal, so meaning through the skin, human growth hormone. Okay. That is FDA registered, okay? It's not FDA approved because it's not a prescription. It's FDA registered, and it's microdose. It's a homeopathic version of human growth hormone.
Okay.
And the nice thing about it,
which is
human growth, HGH,
okay.
Human growth hormone. It's like your master hormone. So after 25 or so, your HGH level starts to decline, and that's when the aging process, starts to kick in. And so the longer we are from about 25, 30 years old, the longer we have been without human growth hormone, and that's the aging. That's the aging process. So
and like they have do they have pills for that?
They know a human growth hormone. If you take it by mouth or sprays or anything, that is going to be degraded by the digestive system, so it's not going to be effective.
Oh, okay.
Not going to be.
When I was going through in vitro,
yes,
the second, third, or fourth round, it wasn't the first one. But I know that people in the WebMD and in those platforms, they kept saying, oh, well, if you are going through IVF and you want to produce better eggs, you have to go on human growth hormone. But it was oh, you buy it from here, but they were all oral.
It's no. It may be not
hence
that.
Why it didn't
not
work.
That. No, you can get it through injections.
Okay.
But the injections, it's very high doses and it's very expensive. And essentially, what happens is that it shoots up the human growth hormone levels high, which causes suppression of the natural pituitary secretion. And so we don't like that. We don't like side effects. We don't like things too high to suppress this, side effects, etc. So the gel has a nice homeopathic version of it. But the beautiful thing that I like about it is that it also combines adrenal glandular. So when people talk about adrenal fatigue, cortisol levels, can't sleep, belly fat comes on,
weight.
Tired, that's all where that comes in. Thyroid glandulars as well. So it helps to support thyroid as well. So metabolism, hair, all of that stuff, as well as issues with belly fat. And it also has some other botanical ingredients in it that has tremendous amounts of benefits. So it's, sleep, energy, skin, your belly fat loss, muscle tone, joint health. People with fibromyalgia are doing great on it. It's just so many different things. And so I don't want to take too much time with that, but it's a phenomenal product. And to me, it's like if someone is over 35, they could absolutely benefit from it.
Okay, and they could either reach out to you to your practice.
Sure.
But if somebody wanted to look it up online, then they would just look up human growth hormone.
No, the thing is, there's too much stuff out there. Dr. Google has a lot of information that people, unfortunately,
Mr. WebMD
are equating. I mean, they go and they look up, ooh, human growth hormone, and they see all this ugly stuff. It's like, no, that's not the same thing.
Okay.
Because it's microdose, it's homeopathic, it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
All
it's
of
the
this
gel.
is the gel. It's not
Okay.
it's a different version of it that's safe,
Mm-hmm.
wonderful safety profile. And so really the best way is to, like, my website, I have a nice page that has what human growth hormone is associated with.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we know that when you start replacing it and doing it, these are the things that you can expect over time. So yeah, and again, men and women.
Yes.
My husband finally listened to me and started doing it regularly and consistently. He's like, you're right, I feel so much better.
Oh, I'm sending Troy in.
It's like, just use it every day, be consistent,
I'm sending it
and
in.
he's totally, he's like, when he doesn't do it, he knows this is the difference. So I love it. I mean, it's great. So.
Oh, I think it's really good. So, we spent a lot of time kind of talking about the professional Dr. Leita Harris. But, I want to talk a little bit. You are so many things, that you are a first lady.
Yes.
And, knowing that, you and your husband, you guys have not an outreach, but
it's a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a nonprofit as well. So
can you tell us a little bit about that? And can you tell us a little bit how you balance all of this? Having a practice, having 5 kids, having a husband, being a first lady, all of these things, the education, everything, the teaching, everything that you're doing. Because I'm just one of those people, I don't believe you can have it all. I believe you have to make decisions, and you have to make sacrifices, and you have to work really, really hard.
Right.
And so, can you tell us a little bit about how you've gotten here and your family and all that great stuff?
Well, you're right. I think, as I was sharing earlier, one of the things that I had to realize, like you said, you can't do everything, is to me changing the way I practice, that had to change. So that was something that had to happen. And my husband and I, we've been in ministry together. I mean, he was a pastor prior to us meeting, but we've been in ministry now, 18 years.
Oh, wow.
This year will be 18 years. And yes, church administrator, Sunday school teacher, women's. I do a mentoring program with young girls as well. And God is in the middle of my life. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I have to give him glory. I can't do everything that he has ordained me and called me to do without his strength. I have to have the Spirit of God inside of me. Otherwise, I'm just going by what I think, how things should go. And so I'm a woman given to prayer. I'm very much a woman that's just like, I love the Lord, I love the Word, I love studying, the Word as well, and I rely on Him. I mean, and that to me, I mean, if with people who are Christians and know God, know that He wants us to rely on Him. He wants us to trust Him.
Yeah.
And so that's a necessary part of who I am. That is who I am. That's the center of it.
I would say that I didn't really get into my spirituality, my Christianness.
It's so funny.
Really until I was deathly ill.
Yes.
And then I recognized that my capacity wasn't my capacity.
That's right.
My capacity was that of, me having faith, me believing in God, me recognizing that I can do all things.
That's right.
If I believe, if I open up my mind, if I see my purpose, if I listen to the message He's put in my heart, that my ability to get things done, just multiplies.
That's right.
And I'm like, how did I do that?
No, it's supernatural power. It really is. He's supernatural, and you're right. That's why I say He wants us to just totally rely on Him. He wants us to we have to yield. We have to give in. We have to realize He created us. So if He created us for a purpose, and we need to be listening to our Creator to decide, to know, which direction do I go here? Why, since you created me, what am I supposed to do? And we all have mess ups in life. Right. No one is perfect. We all know that. I've had my multiple mess ups in life. We learn by it. We learn by it. It's this thing, like you said, you can't have a testimony without a test. And yes, I mean, for me, my time where I finally like said, okay, all right, Lord, all right, okay. It was when I was losing my first marriage. I went through a divorce, and when I got to the point where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm at the rock bottom right now, and I truly cannot look anywhere but up. And that was when I had made a decision, and I haven't turned back. That to just give in, just surrender.
Yes.
Surrender. He knows what's best. Let me go in this direction. So, I will have to say, he gives me the strength, like you said, and it is supernatural. Because when you try to do it in and of yourself, we're limited.
Yes.
We have limitations, but with that power, with that strength that he gives us, he enables us to do things with supernatural power, right? Supernatural power, like whoa.
Yes.
And we do it with ease, okay? And I'm not saying easy,
right?
But it flows through you.
Yes.
Because he's blessing you, and he's giving you to get it through you to other people. And he wants everything that he puts inside of us to give to others.
Yes.
And see, like what you're doing right now, you're giving it to others. You're using the challenges that you had in your life to say, something, someone else, oops, microphone, someone else, needs to hear this.
Yes. Well, it's funny. I say all the time now that I am a much more obedient person.
Absolutely, yes.
And that the things that I do, the things that I'm most scared of, are the things that in the back of my head I know God is challenging me.
Oh, sure.
And telling me, like, you can do it. Just trust in me, Kara, you can do it.
Yes.
And it's so funny. I have this VIP Live the Life You Love retreat. And I'm not that person. I'm not that person to like set up these events and put myself out there and really bring in a community. But it was on my heart.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, okay. Oh Lord, help me, Lord, help me, Lord.
He's putting
Jesus.
it there, so he's gonna give you what you need to make it happen.
And it's funny because even last night, like I'm laying in bed, I can't sleep, I'm bringing all this anxiety onto myself. And finally I recognized, like, I don't trust. Like, Kara, just trust. If you have 2 people at your event, it was the 2 people that were supposed to be there. If you give whatever away, that was what you're supposed to do. So sit in that pocket of recognizing what your purpose is.
That's right.
Being obedient and fulfilling, what purpose God has put on your life.
That's right. And
it's
like
hard.
I said, no, sure it is. He says, okay, we plan things, but God is the one that really, he's the one that's going to really order it. We can plan all we want to, and that's why, like you say, and I love what you say, because there's time where I plan things and it's kind of, okay, we got just a few people, and I'm like, hey, you go at it like there's a whole room full of it. Right. It doesn't even matter. Right. Because we don't know. He has purpose for the divine appointments that he makes for us with whoever it is that we're to interact with.
Well, like, who knew 10 years ago, 10 years ago, when we're off here peddling money, that we would be sitting here in your practice talking about all the amazing things that you're doing, and that, like, we would be listening to that, to our God, to the higher power, to what we're supposed to do, to the purpose in our life.
That's right.
And like, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be.
Yes.
It's like, when you know.
You know that you know that you know.
Yes.
You know that you're doing it. So, and for me, and believe me, like I said, it's challenging. I told you every day is challenging, because I got to trust him with finances and to make things come to pass so that I can, and believe me, I have like miracles happening on a regular basis. On a regular basis. I'm like, hallelujah, I can do payroll. Yay!
Yes. Oh my God, I understand.
Oh Lord, you came through to pay the lease. I mean, just simple things that, sometimes you take for granted. You think like, oh, okay, we're flourishing. It's like, well, I'm flourishing. The spiritual realm, I'm flourishing, but it's got to manifest over here. But he gives enough to just like, okay, I got you. I got you. I got you. Just trust me. Just trust me. I got you. And it's just these little, enough of him showing himself to let me know that okay, he's there.
Yes.
And like my husband says, we always say there is no failure in God. There's no failure in God. So if you're in him, he's in you. There's no failure. Zero.
Yeah.
No. There's nothing. He can't fail.
Mm.
And whew.
Good Lord of mercy. But it's so true. And I was talking to Troy because I have stepped out on faith. Like I'm not doing that corporate thing, and I have made the commitment to myself and my family that that this is what we're going to do. I'm a messenger. That whatever abundance comes because God has willed it so.
Yes.
And it's so crazy to be here and to like recognize your spirit, because Troy, like, he would tell me a couple of years ago, he would say the same thing, like, babe, I don't know how I made that payroll. Like, I just give it to God and think, like, he was like, I'm going to write the check. He somehow, in every single time, because when you're in your purpose, you're doing the good work, but it's giving us a testimony.
Yes.
So that, 10 years from now, when I'm mentoring and I'm sitting up on Oprah's,
that's right.
She has that Sunday, whatever that Sunday, so she's got a Sunday program where, they're talking about life lessons, and, that is my goal, is to be able to show young women, young men, don't give up in the beginning.
That's right.
It takes so much
perseverance and sacrifice, and sometimes you got to lose some things.
Yes.
And I'll put it, we lost our house. We lost our house. We lost our house 3 years ago, but we lost it, and it was because it's like we were not going to let our church get lost, because when everything started going crazy, and folks, things kind of started slipping back, and it's kind of everybody like, oh no, let me hold on to my thing here, because times are hard.
Right.
Times are hard across the board. And
your health is a back burner. When you're trying to way back,
giving to ministry is way back, and my husband had a couple of businesses that were based upon people having disposable income. Lost the businesses, but something, we ain't gonna ever lose God. So He's going to restore, and he has restored. Oh my gosh, he has restored. So yes, perseverance, like you said, look, these young people, don't ever give up. No. Stop being mediocre. If I can tell these young people one thing, stop accepting mediocrity. It's not just about just getting by. Right. Do your best. Put your best effort in. Just do it and have that kind of pride about yourself. Try to push and put that, ingrain that in some of these young folks. Something, it's like, you're trying like, come on, stop it, come on. But that's what we do. We have to mentor them. We got to put it in them. We got to speak it into their lives so that they can receive it, and just keep going from there. But but again, you sometimes you lose something, and whether it's relationship, whether it's homes, sometimes health, you're going to lose somehow. Something's going to be sacrificed. Something is going to go away. But God is like, I sit on the throne. And it's, I didn't mean to turn this into church, but
we went to church,
He's the center of my life. So when you say, hey, what motivates me, what keeps me going, I say, hey, yes, it's the Lord.
No, I understand that. And it's we're raising a little 8-year-old black boy, and so we're constantly telling him, like, do not give up. We don't care. He races. He's a little race car driver. He wants to be a Formula One racer. And we're saying the only way you fail us is when you stop trying. That's right. When we see that you give up. Because it's the whole point in life is to figure out how to get to the finish line. That's right. It's not, it's the journey to get there. And if you give up before you even get on the road, what's the point? Exactly. And so it's like, if I could tell young women anything, if I could tell young men anything, and from everything I've been through, it's that you have to keep changing the combination. You have to keep adjusting. That's right. I read this book called Who Moved My Cheese. Oh, yeah.
Right.
I made it really ghetto how I said it.
Machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I read it
Yes.
every single year. I make my staff read it every single year. Because if you're not constantly looking to grow,
That's right.
looking to adjust and adapt, then you will start to die. You will start to lose. You will start to fail because you don't have that focus in your mind that you have to adjust to the times.
That's right.
And that's what I see the most with today's youth and like with my son, that he will be quick to be like, oh, I can't do it. You know, I didn't get it the first time.
Yeah.
But that's not how life is. You're not supposed to get it the first time.
Not
you don't
whatsoever.
learn anything
No.
if you get it the first time.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So
when you're talking about your house, like I write and I blog and, you know, I do all of that. And I talk a lot about you can't let things define your happiness.
Exactly.
And like my husband and I, we short sold our house.
Right.
And we moved into.
We were trying to short sell. They wouldn't even short sell us.
I was like, thank you, Jesus.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we moved into a 488 square foot trailer.
Right.
We've been in it 3 years. I fought cancer in it. Like my son, he is as happy as can be. Yes, we have this long couch. We all sit on it and watch TV.
There you go.
Like we're so connected as a family. That's because we, you know, I mean, I'm human and sometimes I'm like, dang, I wish I had that big house on the hill. But I also recognize what's important.
That's right.
And that's keeping our family together, being able to have experiences over things. Right. So like I applaud you not for what you went through, but for your transparency and sharing it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's like people think, oh, doctor, you know, like no, it's rough for doctors too.
Because we don't think that.
They know people don't. They don't. You know, it's like, and that's one of the things that a lot of times, you know, they look at me and think, oh, she got money. I'm like, if you only knew. Yeah. I'm glad I look like I got money, but if you only knew.
I got sense.
If you only knew.
Yeah.
You know, but again, you lose certain things you sacrifice. And like you said, we're renting a house. We way downsized, you know, because the kids are grown and gone. We raised our 5 children. We love our kids. They, you know, we're a blended family. To my 2 oldest and his 3, but we raised them together. And our kids are so close. They're like blood brothers and sisters. They've grown up together. They love each other. They have a great relationship, and we have good relationships with them. But now we're on the other side of our, you know, like, hey, kids grown and gone, you know. Yeah. So
time for the naked room.
People talk about empty nest. Oh, empty nest. And we're like, what? Empty nest. Yay.
I'm gonna be 102 when my nest is empty.
I said, yay, empty nest, because we got together with children. Yes. We didn't have that time in our life of like the whole being by ourselves, and we came together with children. So our time of it, you know, enjoying spontaneity and not having the kids around is on the back end. You know, so but yeah, we're renting our house, you know, and it's like, but do I care? No. You know, we're together, like you said. We're together. Is it like some wonderful? No. Right. In fact, don't come visit me. Don't come visit me, okay?
Oh my God.
But we're fine. It's home to us, and we're comfortable, and we love each other. We've got things, like you said, that matter. Things that matter. We're both pushing hard. I'm pushing with my practice. He's pushing with his business. We're together pushing with the ministry. Our kids are great. We love our kids. And again, it's just knowing what to put priorities. You know, what are the priorities in your life? What do you value? Yes. What do you value? Yes. You know, and no, I've never been a materialistic person at all. And, you know, and I had a moment. I guess God knew. He was like, well, that's a good thing you ain't materialistic, because you ain't going to have no material. That's not my plan for you. You're not going to have any material things. So, but, you know, I rest in peace, and I know that I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm very passionate. I love what I do, and I trust Him to give me the increase.
So as we start to wrap up,
I mean, I'm just like, wait, it did go fast.
I told you, it goes really fast.
Yes.
But as we start to wrap up, and we start to, you know, I always like to end with, you know, what good word would the big you say to the little you? Or like, what would you say to the youth? Or, you know, what have you really learned along your journey that you think is like so powerful and helpful to anyone out there who might be going through some things, or you know, might be just on their journey to self-discovery, or youth, you know, trying to figure their way?
I think we kind of touched some things. A few things. I think with the sacrifice thing, I would have to say, wear things loosely. Wear things loosely. You know, so don't feel like, you know, you're doing so much to try to like hold on and get all that you can, and you know, as they say sometimes, get all you can, sit on a can, all that stuff. It's not about what you get, it's what you give.
Yes.
It's not about getting. And I think a lot of times people are so caught up on how much they can get that they forget about the giving part of it. So be a giver, wear things loosely, don't be so caught up. I think the young people today, as I shared, you know, just don't settle for just okie-doke, don't settle for mediocrity. I think my whole journey was always about the goal. You know, like how you said about there's something that's down there that you got to focus on. So, you know, I made those like small goals along the way. So although it was kind of like, hey, I want to be a doctor when I grow up, you know, that meant that I had to do the absolute best that I could in high school to get into the best college I can get into. So I bust my butt when I was in high school to get into the best college. And then the same thing, when I was in college, okay, I want to get into the best medical school. So I got to do the best here to get into the best.
Because you went to Cornell.
I went to Cornell, man. You know, so, but, you know, it was like I had to, you work hard, like you say.
You work hard.
And I think for me, I also wanted people to know me beyond what the paper was. You know, so I made sure that I put myself in front of people so they can see who I was and how I performed, if you will. Because there's a whole bunch of papers that people look at, and they use that paper to assess the person that you are. And I can only put so much on my bio, on my CV, on my application. You need to see who I am. So I had to get in front of people so that they can make a connection with who this person is, and connect with me as a person, so that they would be, you know, like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we'll take you into Cornell. Yeah, we'll take you into the residency training, you know. It was so just, you know, keeping your eyes on goals, and like you said, resetting, retraining, be okay, be flexible. Everything is not going to be like perfect, so know how to bounce back.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. That was a big life lesson for me.
Bounce back.
I was very rigid.
Know how to bounce back. Oh no. Learn how to be flexible and how to bounce back. So, and just love what you do, you know, and be passionate about it. Know that it's something, you know, I say find your passion. Don't just do something. Find your passion.
Yes. I think that's really good word.
Yeah.
And I would say, you know, for me, I always change it, you know, depending on how I feel that day.
Be flexible.
Yes, but I would really like, what's on my heart is, you know, I think if people were more transparent, and if you learn to accept you for who you are, and not to wear other people's expectations of you, that, you know, be who you are, whatever that means, whatever that looks like to you, and learn to love that human being. And like when you look at yourself in the mirror, if you're like, you know, I love this thing, I love being a beekeeper, then be the best dang beekeeper that you can be. But if you, you know, if you follow someone else's passion, someone else's dream, you're gonna wake up at 50 and regret your life. And so that the whole goal to me, the whole mission, everything I talk about, my statements in life, my purpose in life, is to show people that it's okay to be themselves. It's better than okay. It's the only way that you will find your purpose and be happy in life. So with that,
embrace you.
You gotta embrace you. Love you.
Whoops. Embrace you.
Touch the mic a little bit. You know, whatever it takes. But with that, I want to say thank you so much. So what you guys don't know is that we came after Dr. Leita's practice, after she was all done.
Oh, yes.
And like we're here taping late at night. My son's off there coughing and doing all sorts of weird things in her office. So it's like when we talk about the sacrifice, when we talk about doing it and doing it well, like you exemplify that. And so I want to thank you so much. She didn't even know what we were going to talk about. But I just was like, please.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you're beautiful. You're a beautiful woman.
Thank
and I
you.
want to just, commend you for your book.
Thank you.
I was just like, I commend you for that. And yes, transparency, being genuine, being you.
Thank you.
That was what just really fed me. So
thank
you.
Okay, you can see us every Thursday, 10:30 to 11:30. Please comment in the sections. We love to communicate. We love to connect. And please be good to each other. Be yourself. Be transparent and love yourself.
All righty.
Till next time.